Honey looked over her shoulder. Oh, that's Lovey Ligar. She didn't seem the least bit surprised. But how can she drive a boat by herself? I can't even drive a golf cart. Honey chuckled. Actually, I can get you permission to drive a golf cart on the island. You just gotta pass my driving test. As for the boat, you can learn to do that too. My mouth slipped open. I turned to watch in awe as Lovey tied up her boat and leaped onto the dock with ease of a sailor. She had a long blonde braid that hung down her back like the rope in her hands. When she lifted her gaze toward us, I quickly looked away. The cart made a high beeping sound as Honey backed out of her parking spot. She stopped and turned the wheel. Lovey comes from Dewey's, the Isle of Palms, almost every day during the summer to stay with her Aunt Sissy while her mom is at work. She flipped a switch from reverse to forward before she turned her gaze back to the road. She told me, "Close your mouth, son, you'll catch flies." As Honey sent the car lurching forward, I shut my mouth in a big grin. Can I really learn to drive a cart this summer? Even a boat? Why not? She asked as she drove out of the parking lot. We headed into the deep shade of the trees. Honey glanced at me appraisingly. You're not a little tyke any longer. You're old enough to operate a cart, even a boat. Of course, you'll need to pass a boater safety class. I could do that, I said, and imagined myself driving a boat on the water fast. Honey turned right onto a dirt road and took off in the golf cart. As we bumped along the shady path, the breeze ruffled my hair and cooled the sweat from my brow. The air smelled sweet like flowers. Child, look around you, Honey said, extending her arm. Dewey's is a very special place. There aren't too many folks who live here, mostly animals and birds and trees, and all kind of wild. She smiled. The whole island is yours to explore. Really? Yep, Honey said and turned her head to wink at me. It's a Huck Finn life on the island. Suddenly I felt the first spark of happiness breaking through the gray of this terrible, dreadful day. Maybe it wouldn't be the worst summer after all. There were no paved roads on the island, only dirt paths with shells, pebbles, and ruts that we bounced across. Tall trees loomed over us, shading a road like a tunnel. I felt like I was in a jungle. To my right was a dense thicket of trees and shrubs, and maybe a peek at a house far back, hidden from the road. To the left, I saw a shimmering lagoon surrounded by tall marsh grass and more trees arching over the water like a bonny, long fingers. Everywhere I looked were birds, little ones flittering about in the trees, big white ones standing in the mud flats and wading in the shallows of the lagoon. Were several bright pink birds. They looked like flamingos. I wasn't in New Jersey anymore. What kind of birds are those? Honey turned her head, but she'd already zoomed past the lagoon. She pointed to a circular wooden building up on high stilts. That's the Nature Center, said Honey. Remember it? No. I guess it was a few years back. That's where you can learn all about what birds you spot here. Animals too. They've got all sorts of information in there. You used to like to go there. That was a long time ago, I said. Honey was silent as she drove. True enough, she said. You know, Jake, I wanted you to come visit here every year. I asked over and over, but with your mama and daddy's work schedules and your school and sports schedule, it was hard to find a time that y'all could come visit me. Such a shame because you loved it. You used to love it here. She sighed heavily, just like your daddy. I swallowed hard. Yeah? Well, you're here now, right? She tried to sound cheerful and turned her head to smile at me. Honey's driving had me clinging for my life to the cart. I gripped the windshield frame with one hand and the back of my seat with the other as she plowed through a deep puddle. Oops, didn't see that one, she said with a giggle. Honey's short, gray, curly hair was puffed up from the breeze. I saw lots more gray in it than I remembered. I couldn't figure out if Honey could or could not see the puddles because she seemed to splash through more than she dodged. And I wasn't sure whether to laugh or to be scared. What happens if the golf cart flips over? I asked. Good question. What do you think you should do? Honey asked. Pray? No. Island rule number 1. If you start to fall off a go-kart, just let go. You mean fall off? Yep. Are we going to flip? Well, I don't plan on it, but whoever does. I gripped the cart tighter as we drove a little farther down the road. Honey suddenly brought the cart to a stop. I jerked forward in the seat. Honey pointed to a lagoon in the distance. This lagoon, here's where Big Al likes to hang out. Here's island rule number 2. We leave Big Al alone. Who's Big Al? Just the biggest, baddest alligator on the island. We have several alligators on Dewey's, but Al is the biggest bull of them all. You won't mistake him. She pointed to the platform floating in the middle of the lagoon. That's his favorite spot. Did you know when a gator is sunning, it's actually digesting its food? I shook my head, feeling a little scared that I was on an island with a bunch of gators. If you're driving a golf cart and come across Big Al sunning himself on the road, put the golf cart in reverse and go the other way. No one messes with Big Al. Before I could respond, she tapped the steering wheel and said, "So, want to take a lesson?" I was still imagining just how Big Al really was and where he was hiding, but her question quickly pushed that out of my mind. "A driving lesson?" I asked. "Now? Of course, you must learn to drive a golf cart. Else, how are you gonna get your chores done? You ready?" Sure." I couldn't believe my luck. Honey slid from the driver's seat and patted the cushion. Well, come on. I was getting the sense that Honey didn't fool around. When she said something, she meant it. I scooted over on the front seat and took hold of the wheel. I was excited she was going to let me drive. First thing to learn is that this isn't a toy. Honey began in a teacher's voice. It is a powerful machine and deserves respect. Follow the rules and you shouldn't get hurt. But start acting like some fool race car driver and you'll not only get hurt. She paused to give me the stink eye. I'd find out before you could park the cart back in my house. That would mean the end of your driving privileges. Got it?